everyone, and welcome to the Ill-Fated Rise of Henry VIII podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting this very special influencers episode where I'll be speaking to personally my favourite three history TikTokers, and it should be yours as well, The History Gossip,
Hello.
Katerynashistory, History, and The Historical Gal. How are we today, ladies?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. This is very exciting. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. How about
Yeah,
you, Elizabeth? How are
everyone.
you?
I'm doing really good and I'm thrilled to be here. It's going to be fab. I loved writing for you guys all that time ago, and it's fab to be back chatting to you.
There, for those who don't know, Elizabeth used to be one of our writers, and I still believe that she is one of our writers and has never left us and is an amazing person. So we'll be all talking today about TikTok, and I'm absolutely honored because all of you bring such uniqueness and vibrancy to the history community on TikTok. You all have different styles, which we'll be looking at a little bit today. And TikTok has kind of taken the world by storm in the way that it's engaging for all communities. We see people who have businesses on there. We see people who are just using memes and creating trending videos. And then we also see the history community. We've seen that it's taken the world by storm. It's a way for people who love history to engage with it. It's a way for influencers like yourselves to create amazing, engaging, and often funny videos for your viewers and to be able to teach them about parts of history that they probably didn't learn in school because school is very tight in what they teach you. And it's flourished a lot over the years, and it's actually been deemed one of the biggest communities on TikTok. And I guess with the quote unquote temporary ban for TikTok in the US, it might cause a little bit of an issue for some viewers. I just wanted
Oh
to
yeah,
ask each
because
of you.
I'm in US, so and it was banned for like the whole day. Yeah, so that was crazy.
Did you see any difference in?
Yeah, it's I feel that something happened with recommendation, like whatever was recommended before, it's not there, and like a lot of new people pop up. So I don't know if it's good or bad. But for my views, I feel it's better now than before.
And have you two noticed any difference, Elizabeth and Katie? Have you noticed any difference since the ban in the US for TikTok?
A little bit. I mean, I was a bit apprehensive when it was gonna get banned because I've got a book coming out in the US. It's like the History Gossip, but the US edition in May. And then my audience is split 50-50, like American and UK. So I'm trying not to stress about it because I'm like, there's no way it's gonna get banned forever. Like in my head, I'm like, no, it's fine, it's fine. But I've noticed, I mean, a little bit of dip in views, but I think that happens if I stop posting for a few days. There's that natural like lull of views and then it's trying to get it back up again. But yeah, I'm trying not to stress. I'm trying to be like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
And for you, Elizabeth?
I think it made me panic, honestly, that I don't post enough on other places. So I was like, oh, this is like because that is the main channel. And then the other one's sort of like sidebars. So other people very kindly, like the American audience, were like, oh, we'll follow you on your other channels and things. Like my YouTube's really out of date, Instagram's really out of date. And I was like, oh man, I am not like a split like 50-50-50 like to everything. I'm really not. So it made me realize in my own self as like a businesswoman I need to get better at my at my own handles of stuff. But I think it was really sad. I think loads of people like when they were commenting on stuff like, oh, I really miss your videos and things like that, please say you'll post other places. And you don't really, it's weird, you post these little things and stuff, you don't really think about not the effect it has on people, that's a bit too dramatic, but like, people enjoy them, and you don't think, oh, that might be taken away. And they were, oh, I'll be really sad I won't be learning or watching or anything. That you're my comfort channel, which was really, really sweet. So, it did come back after a day or however many hours it was. But I think some people I think there's a bit of a furore about saving TikTok and selling it to certain people and not selling it and stuff. And I think that was a bit of a issue for some people. So I think some people, I've heard that they've left and they're like, oh no, it's just I'm not going to use that platform anymore.
Considering that each of you predominantly are on TikTok, I know that all of you do use Instagram, as that is kind of where I do tend to watch most of my stuff. What first attracted you to creating content on TikTok? Because when it first came out, it was this new platform. Not many people knew the success that it would bring, and especially not history TikTokers, because the history community, even on platforms such as Facebook or Instagram, is still fairly small. So to see it bloom and almost expand worldwide on TikTok is phenomenal. So what drew you to creating on TikTok? And have you seen a change in how history is viewed because of TikTok? Have you seen people more positive towards learning about history? And I'll start with Katie.
Oh God, there were so many like things rushing through my head when you were saying that, and now I forgot it all. So I mean, I've only been on the platform like officially for like just over a year. I mean, even before that, I was addicted to scrolling. Like in COVID, I was constantly on TikTok and had like a private account, like doing all those like lip syncy videos and stuff. I watched a lot of like Mina Moriarty's stuff. Like she was around way before I was posting, and just like all of the little like fun bits of information. I was like, that's really interesting. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to start. I was like, oh, this is how people are learning. I'm on the app a lot. I was bored, sick of doing my dissertation as well. So I was just like, I'm gonna start posting on it, and it's just kind of gone from there. And it's just nice to see that the community is really nice, and I've met a lot of people in real life as well, at various like history stuff, like all of the history community, and it's a really nice place to be. And the comments so far are usually quite nice from like the people, like general public and stuff. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy being there. But as like Elizabeth said, I need to take care of like trying to grow my other platforms and not just relying on TikTok really. But I'm always on the app, so I just feel like I don't know. I like being on it. So
And have you seen through your viewers, have you seen a lot of your viewers perhaps taking more of an interest in history? Because we sometimes do have to all suffer from the accidental click on our
yeah.
content. Even me, myself, I've had people go, oh, I didn't mean to click on that, but I like your content.
100%. Like, I really love it when I get messages from people being like, oh, I'm wanting to study it at GCSE, I'm wanting to do it A level, or I'll get comments being like, God, I haven't done history in years. If you were my history teacher, I would have like taken it to like degree level, I would have done that. And that's really nice because, I'm not expecting to like give people a really, really in-depth history lesson because, you have to like hook them within 3 seconds or they're gone. So I try to get at least like 2, 3 facts in there in a minute video. And hopefully if someone learns even a little bit from that, then that's amazing. Yeah.
And Katerina, what's your views on how history is viewed on TikTok? What have you seen through your content?
First, I start on Instagram, and I was posted about maybe 6 months there, and it was like very slow activity because I feel the audience on Instagram like more harsh or like expect you more than TikTok audience, maybe because TikTok people are slightly younger than Instagram. So they not expect you something like super historical biography, academical content. They just want fun. So after I realized I can do it more fun, like funny short videos about history, and then I feel like TikTok is more accurate for it. I post there and like very soon it's grows so fast, and some of my videos have like 1 million likes, so that's crazy. And then I realized like I feel it's totally different people and they look in different content. So I keep two platforms, and for me both of them very active, and Instagram and TikTok. I always love history and I like biographies specifically, and I was always surprised, like I heard about guys and I never heard like who was their ladies, who were their mothers, sister, who was wives or lovers. Because like when you start like read that part, like you got it a lot of stuff you connected. That's why like this, that's why like that. For example, if you learned who was the mother of Alexander the Great, then you got it like why he think about himself as a god. But if you don't know this information about his mother, like it's just piece of information hanging in the air. So that's why like my idea was introduce the ladies, but in the short videos, like in 1 minute you told the whole biography of the whole person. So that's like my main concept. You don't need read 3,000 pages on a book. You just need like watch 1 minute to get it like who she was. So that's the main idea for like my channel.
And Elizabeth, on your views on history on TikTok, you do a lot of, showing people around historical sites and other things. Have you seen any kind of change in TikTok in terms of how history is viewed? Are you seeing a lot of young people embracing it now? Because a few years ago, people might have seen it as boring and the same old thing. Whilst, as all three of you are clearly showing, there is life to it. There is fun. There is, vulgarness to it. There is humor.
I think it makes it more accessible, and I think that's what everyone can enjoy is the fact, yeah, there are shorter videos and it's bite-sized pieces, isn't it? It's history in bite-sized flashcard kind of episodic little episodes throughout all of our history locally and world history. And I think that's what people enjoy. And I think that we all focus on interesting tidbits, like interesting bits and bobs that you don't necessarily like at school. Certainly, like over here, you do the Romans, the Tudors, the Civil War, and then like World War One and World War Two, and that's then you're done. And then you have so much more to it, don't you? You have wives, you have queens and queen consorts, which you don't necessarily get to read about. And I think it's certainly becoming more prevalent. I think women's history as well. I think that plays a big part in it when you have people who women who have been essentially written out of history, maybe not intentionally, but they just aren't there. And if you have these little snippets of information that you can gather together about a woman's life who was previously unknown to the common masses, and then you can put it out there and people, oh my God, that's really interesting. I had no idea about her or no idea about that. I think that's what really I thoroughly enjoy that when you have any sort of comment that's like, oh, I never knew that. That's amazing. Or I'll go and learn or I'll go and read. And you think, yes, yes, yes. Okay, this book, this, that, you can pick out on these things and bring these women to the forefront because there are so many. Obviously, I focus on the Tudors, but there's so many women. I always say, like on my channel, you have HBO series for days on these women, but they're just like glossed over by producers or whatever. You have so many interesting people, lives, situations to talk about. And I think that's what has spurred this big movement for history on TikTok because you can talk about that, whereas necessarily in other factors you can't. That's I think all I do on my page or try to.
And it's interesting that you say that because we've seen almost through all of history that there is almost, I wouldn't say a handful, but in each era, there is always some form of over sexualization or derogatory or even just over exaggeration of women's lives. We see it, as you say, in the Tudors, we see it with Anne Boleyn, we see it with poor Catherine Howard, we see it with Lady Rochford, and we see it even earlier and even later. I mean, Katie covers it in her own book, The History Gossip, about how years and years before, in let's say ancient Greece, for example, women are even being said about wrong then. So perhaps you using your content is a way to show that this isn't what happened. This is the truth of it. And, shows such as, I will use the Tudors here because it's probably one of those shows that has given a lot of people the wrong idea about specifically women. And I think that especially with tackling women, as you all do tackle women from various different eras, more specifically Tudor, though I think you all cover Tudor, that there is always going to be some controversy in what you say or what you don't say, regardless of whether it is the truth or whether it's well known or not. So I just wanted to ask, has there been a big challenge in terms of creating your content for some people who do talk about Anne Boleyn? Do you feel perhaps a challenge that you have to be careful of what you say? Perhaps somebody might comment and start, big argument over, Anne Boleyn's relationship with Henry VIII. Has there been any challenges for any of you in terms of creating content?
For me, oh sorry, wait, someone else go first.
I probably should. I'm sorry, I should probably have asked. Right, I'll go to you, Elizabeth. Sorry.
I would just say for the Anne Boleyn like saga because she is the Tudors, isn't she? She is the on my channel specifically. She is either really really bad or she is an angel sent from above. Seems to be no kind of human movement for human error in her. So she isn't almost a real person. She is just either super bad, villain, hated Mary, hated Catherine, seduced her way to the top, got there, was so awful, everyone discovered it, and then she died. That isn't the case, but she also wasn't this amazing heroine. She was a feminist. She was this, like, she also wasn't any of those things either. She was human and she kind of walked the line between all things as most of us do. So it's very difficult to do almost like I wanted like a blank, emotionless video on her as a person because it ignites everything. So she's either a whore or a saint, and the comments go wild. They're like, well, she did this, she did that. And so, well, the fact isn't there, or this isn't that. She isn't Natalie Dormer. She isn't Claire Foy. She's not Jeremy Bourgeois. She's not any of these people. She is a real person, and I think that's the difficulty that I certainly come across on my page with giving her that human element of like she's a real bitch, but also yeah, she was she did this as well, and it was amazing. And she was this, that, and the other. So it's so difficult to kind of walk the line in between and neutrality, I suppose, and trying not to upset anyone, which you obviously never want to do, but it is difficult sometimes.
And for you, Katerina, you have portrayed a lot of these women, including Anne Boleyn, on your platform through cosplaying. Do you feel the same way about how you portray these women?
Well, for me, I agree that the history person usually labeled, are they good or they bad? And that's how people look at them. So when you, in your content showing that these names, it's not just the names, this was a people have a childhood affect them, people have a marriage affect them, a study, experience in their life. So when you tell this part, like I try to show like this was a humans, not just historical names. And if she did something, there is like reason why. And like if you read and learn more, you're gonna know, or like at least like guess why she did it, like why it's happened. So for me, like the most difficult part is to show that was a real people with real problem. They are not just black and white. There is something in between. And if she did something in this situation bad, it's not that it doesn't mean she like gonna do all the bad stuff only or only good stuff. So when people realize this was a human as me and as you and as everyone else, it's gonna be easier for them accept something that like they never thought.
And finally, Katie, your views on it. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, it's all right. I think you've both said it really well. I mean, I haven't done a video on like Anne Boleyn for ages, but it was one of the first videos of mine that really popped off. It was like talking about our appearance and stuff and comparing it to like the coin and stuff and how we don't have any surviving pictures of her. But yeah, I remember the comments being quite divided. It's the same with Mary Antoinette as well. It's either like I really love her or she deserved to get her head chopped off. Which is like, I don't know, I kind of just leave them to it really because I don't really want to get involved and then get a hate train on it. So I'm just like, okay, thanks. So I don't know. I mean, it's not going to stop me like from posting about them. And, you know, a lot of my content, I kind of say stuff that's a bit, I don't know, like out there and stuff. So like if people get offended by it, I'm just a bit like, I don't know. But like personally, I'm not going to go around slagging Anne Boleyn off or anyone else. So I like them. Yeah, sorry, that was like the worst answer. I'm sorry.
So I was just going to say, because I agree with you when you say that you say things that are a bit out there and you're not afraid to say what you say, because sometimes you see these videos and you see that they are sometimes maybe afraid to say something, and then all three of you have these amazing videos where you're speaking your mind, you're not reading from a script, you're not being dictated what to do. And sometimes in yours, Katie, you talk about, you know, topics that we wouldn't like talk about before, like these vulgar topics about what they did in the toilet, or you know, they're undressing and things. Like you wouldn't see that, but you see it
it's
more
what the
on
people
TikTok.
want to know. It's what
Exactly.
the people want to know. It's what I want to know.
That's what you want to know about. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So I mean, it's questions that I ask, it's questions that my mom will ask me, being like, so how did people do this? How did they see without glasses? How did they wipe their asses and stuff? And it's more like human interest questions, and I really enjoy researching them. I love seeing the comments. It's fun. It's fun. And if I say something out, I don't know, my videos are always like, I'll always say like the odd, like random stuff. But I think it's all in like good fun. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean it to really offend anyone, and I wouldn't say anything like horrific knowing that people would get really, do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say something like really, really bad, because that's not me. But I think there's no harm in having fun with stuff and not taking yourself too seriously.
I think it's funny.
The Marie Antoinette video you did the other day. Oh my God,
the one when I was in Versailles, that one.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, that was fun. I had my mom recording that. She was sick of her life, bless her. But yeah, I like doing content that's in real life because I feel like it brings it to life a lot more. Obviously, I can't go to Versailles every day, so I have to do a lot of green screen stuff. I know, if I could, I would. I would love it. I absolutely loved it. So I'd love to do more content like that, because I feel like it's starting to shift a bit. Like the content where I'm actually there is starting to do better than the green screen one at the minute. So.
And that's why I like that we all have kind of different types of content because we all saw the same things every day. The boring, text of just someone posting like a text message. They want excitement. And like Elizabeth, she takes you to a castle and you feel like you've been to that castle with you. You say like, this is what Marie Antoinette did. And someone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then with Katerina, they see these beautiful gowns because she wears these absolutely gorgeous gowns during her cosplays. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I want one. I want my own custom made one. It does show you that there are a lot of people wanting more on TikTok because it amazes me how many people are actually not aware of certain things. Like somebody messaged me through one of my reels or something and said, why don't they just drink water in Tudor times?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Why don't they just drink the dirty water? So it does amaze you with how much people don't know because you don't really realize it until you start posting and they're like, I never knew that.
Yeah, I suppose when people aren't really interested in the subject at school, or they've always thought that history is just politics and dates, which it is. I mean, for A-level history, it was all like, we did the French Revolution, but it was all like, this happened on this day and this happened on this day. And it makes it so dry. So like, I sort of don't blame people for not taking an interest in it or like knowing much. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like TikTok really makes it fun again.
And they can choose what they want to learn about because
Exactly.
I think every single one of us here will say that there's a subject in history that we just don't like. So being able to watch whatever we want on TikTok is quite good. Mine personally is World War II. Sorry, I'm Tudor girl. I'm sorry, I should have been born in the Tudor era. I would have died, but we would have had fun, wouldn't we? Is there anyone here that has like a bad period of history that you just don't want to learn about?
Just think anything war related, like military history. I'm just not. I do like World War II. I like finding out about the rations and stuff like that. I found that really interesting. But just wars, I don't care. I don't care if you advance like 3 paces. I'm sorry, like that's so boring. I'm really sorry.
I'm guessing you're the same, Elizabeth.
Oh, mine was the Cold War. I have beyond no interest at the Berlin Wall. Was that no? Not for me.
No. What about you, Katrina? What was your
Well, for me also might be like any wars not interesting for me, like first, second. Also specifically because like originally I'm from Ukraine, so when we learn history, we learn a lot about those wars. So I knew everything by this time about them. So like I don't want to learn anything anymore about it. And like that's what more even fun that, for example, we didn't learn Tudor period at all. We say like, okay, this king, and that would happen, and that's it. It's like one lesson, but we have like 200 lessons about Second War. So that's why I switched my interest from this to that, because like I know everything already about the Second War. Let me learn about Tudor now.
I think we're all just going to skip military war then. We're just not going to learn about wars. That's what we should do. Maybe we should pitch to schools. Let's not learn about the wars that they fought. Let's think about this. Because I personally had to learn about Henry VIII and Calais. And as much as I love Henry VIII and Calais, it's not very interesting until the end. So it's a lot of just waiting for stuff to happen.
Yeah. 100%. But I don't know. I think in primary we learned it was quite interesting in primary because we did like Victorian Day and like World War II evacuation. Oh, I absolutely loved it. We went to Beamish Museum, which is like really close to where I live. It's like this open air museum, and I just remember like wanting to be an evacuee. Like when I was little, and like I had like the gas mask box, and I was like, I want to be an evacuee, or want to be like a Victorian street urchin. So I really like those types of history, but like any war, I'm just like, no, soz.
We had a Tudor day where we had to go to, I think it's Burley House. It's not close to me, but it's a bit close. It's about maybe an hour or two away from me. And we had to dress up as Tudor servants. I cannot tell you how glad we were that we did not have to wear like Tudor like panties and stuff. Because 10-year-old me would not have been happy with wearing that.
That sounds so fun though. I feel like we should bring it back.
I had to be
like
a
I miss
chambermaid.
doing stuff like that. Yeah, I love it. I miss those days.
They had me as a chambermaid and they had a bowl and like it was orange juice or something or apple juice or something, and they told us it was actual like toilet. So we had to do the taking away. So I'm glad I did it, but I don't think the kids these days would believe it was apple juice.
Oh my God. That sounds fun though. I wish I did that at school.
So before I get to our final question, I've got a little fun question for you all. I just wanted to know what your favorite, for you, Elizabeth, you can have historical site or person for this question, and for you, Katie, as well, if you'd like. I know that I think I have a feeling what Katerina's going to say with this one, but I'm still going to ask. Is there a historical figure that you most like doing content about? Is there someone that when you think I'm going to make fresh content, it's, yeah, that's the person I'm going to do, or I'm going to do this event or something like that? And I'll start with Katrina.
I like a lot from the Slavic history, since I'm Slavic and people don't know much, like in English speaking community, they don't know that history because like they don't learn much, like as well as I don't learn Tudor at my age and school age. So I would say like the Queen of France, Anna Yaroslavna, who was from Kiev and Rus. I like also, I believe, Anne Boleyn and the maybe Catherine of Aragon, and I also like Hürrem, which is also like not very popular historical figure, since it's also like not in a happen in Europe, so those ladies are not much covered. So that's why I like speak about them, because they're not very well known.
And for you, Elizabeth?
I would have to say for me, it's a toss up between the Grey sisters, so not Jane Grey, but her two lesser known sisters, Catherine and Mary. They would be my top picks because people don't know they exist and their story and who they are. And also, for whatever reason, I don't know why, Jane Rochford, Jane Boleyn, has become like a real big figure of interest at the minute, and people are really starting to reevaluate her and look at her again. So I've done a couple of videos on her, and she's really sparked people's interest on the page. So I would say just a lesser known females of the Tudors. So it would be the Grey sisters and Jane Rochford.
And just before I move on to Katie, is there a historic site that you most like to go to? Because you do go to a lot of historic sites on your TikTok and on your Instagram. You show a lot of these beautiful houses, and some of them that are perhaps not well known.
Knowsley Park, that is my absolute ultimate favorite. I fucking love it. It's so beautiful. It is such an amazing space, but you can't, quite rightfully, it's a private home, so you can't film there. So I'm just desperate for people to go and visit it, like pay for its upkeep, help to keep it open, help to keep everyone be able to go and see it, because the wealth, it's not so much even the house, it's the stuff within the house is just incredible, because Elizabeth I stayed there an awful lot. And just like for a quick example, they have panels in their Great Hall from Nonsuch Palace that they bought when Nonsuch was being torn down to, I think, pay off gambling debt. So like, oh, we'll have that. We'll buy that for a super cheap price and stick it in our Great Hall. How like real is that? Like how much of like a relatable, like, oh yeah, there's a house sale going on, like, you know, let's pinch the panels from there and stick them up in our Great Hall. And you can see all of those there. You can see Catherine Parr's initials on the panels. You have stools that Elizabeth the First lady sat on at her feet. And I never really understood when in books and literature, they're like, oh, the women were sat about her feet, the Queen's feet. And I'm like, wow, like how are they sat? Like what, on the floor? Like, do you know what I mean? Are they on cushions? And it sounds like a really silly thing, but to see it like, oh, okay, it's like these like little swish silken stools that they would then fashion and then sit on and stuff. They have like loads of them there when Elizabeth came to stay, and it's just this wealth of stuff which people don't really know about. And they used to do amazing yogurt and ice cream, if anybody remembers that from like years gone past. Losley's yogurt. No, no. It was very, I didn't realize the two were associated together, but they used to make really nice yogurt and ice cream. So it's all in one package. You get ice cream, you get history. Don't know what more anyone wants, really.
I will say just quickly that I absolutely loved your video on Nonsuch Palace, because I actually didn't know that Nonsuch existed until like you posted about it, and I actually quite laughed about what a silly name for a palace, Nonsuch, but it actually quite makes a lot of sense considering
It's
Henry
so
VIII.
ballsy. Like there is none such like it in the world, heaps. So suck it. That's what I'm going to call it.
Imagine saying that.
Oh.
I'm going to Nonsuch. Where? Nonsuch Palace.
Yeah,
There is none. Must have been a tongue twister. But yes, for you, Katie. Sorry to keep you waiting once more.
Oh God. So Henry VIII, because I like to slag him off and everyone else seems to enjoy that. So yeah, I feel like I've kind of exhausted Henry VIII at the minute. But it's always a fun go-to just to take the piss out of him. Who else? I like Mary Antoinette. I think from going to Versailles, it's like revived that again. I like doing videos about her. I think she's one of my favorite historical figures as well. I just find her story really interesting. She had really nice gowns. Versailles nice as well. It's like really lovely. I like to do Victorians as well. Not necessarily like Queen Victoria. I mean, I have done videos about her before, about like shagging her cousin. That always goes down well. But I like to just talk about like the day-to-day things about Victorians as well, like the arsenic dresses that they'd wear and why did they put all this like shite into bread and like makeup that they'd wear. I find that really interesting because I don't know, it's only like a couple hundred years. Like I kind of see it as not like I don't know how do I describe it? Like not that long ago, and I'm just like that's only like great granddad. Like is it? Would it be? I don't know. Like it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not that far removed from us now. So I find that really interesting that only a couple hundred years ago they were doing all this like random shite. Yeah.
I was sorry, I'm just laughing over how you say it's only like I actually say like when someone says, "Oh, when did Henry VIII rule?" Not that long ago, actually. 500 years, but not that long ago.
But it's technically not that long ago. Like in the context of everything, like it's not that long ago, if that makes sense, considering like how long humans have been around, it's not that long. So
I mean,
it's so weird. But it is that long ago, do you know what I mean? Because it's 500 years, but it's not at the same
I
time.
watched this. There was this really random thing. It was on YouTube, I think, and it was a documentary, I think, from like the 60s, where they were in London, where Jack the Ripper did his doings, and they had people who were alive then being interviewed about the scaremongering of Jack the Ripper, and that was like, how
Yeah,
how is that possible? Like, yeah, over there that happened. You're like, what? And it was like, I'm sure it's like the early 1960s. It was James Mason who was like doing it, and it was just the most mind-bending. Like, yeah, we remember it because of this and the other. I was like, what? Because it feels really far away, but actually, no, it like you say, it
yeah.
really.
Yeah,
I
especially
mean,
when you've got. I mean, I think I saw this was ages ago, but it's this like BBC documentary from the 70s, and it's interviewing like Victorian like elderly ladies of what they used to do when they were teenagers, and I'm just like, that's crazy that we've got an actual Victorian on camera, like talking about, oh, I used to cycle, and that was bad because I was a lady and I wore a skirt. It's just like, whoa, like that's
Wow.
weird. Yeah.
it always makes me laugh because people are like, "Oh, but the Victorians weren't around during cameras," and I'm like, "Yeah, they were. They were around during like cameras and videos," and they're like, "No, they're not," and I'm like, "Yes, they are." And then you see them, and you're like, "God, we've changed."
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be so scandalous that we're driving our own cars to them.
Yeah.
Like, how dare us? But yes, I will get to the last question, which for a lot of people who watch history TikTok, they perhaps get inspired to create their own, perhaps not in the same way that you ladies do it. Perhaps they just repost things or they're sharing a scene from a TV show and saying, this is wrong, don't believe what you've been taught. And I've seen a lot of people, especially with, I keep bringing up the Tudors, but I think that's like the most obvious answer for what is the worst, like historically accurate show. It's a great show, but not the most accurate in terms of Anne Boleyn. And they post them and then they get a bit nervous because perhaps they're like, oh, but I'm not sure if it'll be good. And there's people who are like, well, I want to create stuff, but can I do it? Am I, worthy of it? And I just want to know, is there any advice that you can give to somebody who perhaps is watching your content thinking, you know what, I have an interest in this type of history, perhaps something different to what we do. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who has downloaded TikTok, has got their account ready, but hasn't posted anything?
Like my advice is have very clear idea of what you're gonna say and like on what way. Like if, for example, my idea is do cosplay, so I do just that. I don't do suddenly something else, so people not get confused and they know what to expect from the videos. I don't do suddenly something else, so people like, oh, that's not what I was looking for.
No, that's great advice as well. Like I think it's you definitely need to work out your niche 100%. I mean, before I started, I was also like a bit scared about posting about like are people gonna be arsey? Are they gonna like label me this like thick northerner because of my accent? And obviously the way I present things is a bit like different as well. I mean, so when I first started it was very different. I felt like I had to follow a certain pattern and like talk a certain way and present things a certain way because people before me, like that are like big historians or like people on TikTok, always do that certain thing. But I feel like once I started, it sounds really like corny, just like chilling out and like not caring as much, then it started to take off for us and stuff. So I think the advice is, I don't know, don't be scared of people like getting hate as well, because I just feel like no matter what you post, someone's going to be arsey about it. So you just have to kind of, I don't know. If I get a hate comment, I'm just a bit like, I don't care. Like, I just genuinely don't care, because they just see me as someone on the phone that they'll just scroll past, and they don't see me as like an actual 3D person. Do you know what I mean? So I think is just don't give a shit what anyone else thinks, because again, like before I posted, I got really self-conscious and I blocked everyone that I knew at uni. I blocked like my family and friends from like viewing like from my TikTok platform. So I think even if you do that just to get you started, because I think half the trouble is what's everyone going to think and all of that. You just have to get on with it or you'll never get anywhere.
I think it's echoing the guys as well. Like, just go for it. Just do it. Just try and you are already removed from it, because you're posting on a platform anyway. So it's not, you don't need to see any of the people that you're posting to. So that's at least one degree of separation. But do something that you find, if you find it interesting, there is going to be someone else that also finds it interesting. And I think there's always a niche, like Katie was saying, like you find your niche and then you roll with it. And I think that's what works for people on this platform is they have their little corner of the internet and you roll with it and you'll have videos that work, videos that don't, videos that you really love and worked really hard on and they're like, it's all right. You just be like, okay, like move on, do something else, keep on going. It doesn't sort of be all and end all, is it? Like you just need to keep on going. If you find it interesting, if you're really into it still, if you're passionate about it, that will shine through and just keep on doing it. If you post it and you find it interesting, that's it to me. That is the niche. That's what should drive you forward.
So I just want to thank you all so much for joining me today. And hopefully people will check out all of your channels and they will all get inspired by your, content. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for having us. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is the All Fated Wives of Henny Babe signing off. Thank you for this lovely episode and I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.